morning and welcome to Vacancy. We want to apologize for not being live last week. There were logistics problems and they held us back. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed the replay of the week before. Thank you so much again for viewing and being with us. The program is going to be a year old soon, but we believe that there's a lot to be done in the job industry, the employment industry. We believe that human resources and personnel management are very key part of every organization. And so today we're talking about staffing in an organization, staffing in an organization. A lot of people start businesses and just begin to employ people, maybe because some money has started coming in, and employ people. So you now have redundancy. It happens in the civil service. You have over 30, 40 people who, begin to work in an organization and their roles are not defined. And if the roles are not defined, then you just keep employing. Sometimes you go to some ministries and you find that there are about like 7 people who are in an office, and all they do is this one stamps that, signs it, another one stamps and signs again, and the same job just goes round and round, something that one person would have done. Most times it's an excuse by politicians to say they're providing jobs for people. But what's the job description for these people? Staffing in any organization is very key to the success of the organization. It landmarks the growth. It does respond to the market demands. It also responds to the breakdown and productivity of the staff. I happen to have worked in different organizations, and if you look at it, staffing in an organization starts from the one-man business. Sometimes you have the SMEs, you have the medium-scale businesses, the large-scale businesses, and then the conglomerates. Now, on these 4 levels, staffing differ from one point to the other. A small-scale business does not need so many people. You can outsource what you cannot afford. For instance, if you know that you cannot hire a typist or a secretary, you can begin to take your secretarial job to a business center, finish from there and submit it so your letters then go out. There's no need to have a small organization and you're employing a security guard, you're employing a cleaner, you're employing an accountant, and you don't have enough money to run the business. So it is proper for you to grow. As your business grows, you employ more people. Sometimes you find that even in big organizations, they find that there's no need to employ permanent cleaners. They get a company that comes and does the cleaning. That said, like I mentioned, today we're going to talk about staffing in an organization. And when I come back, I'll take you through the reasons behind staffing in an organization, what makes people employ people, what makes people downsize after this break. Like P Square said, make una dey serious for una business. It is important for you to take your business seriously. Overstaffing can bring your business down where you think you mean well. Overstaffing is when the businesses that you are getting do not require more than 2 people, but you then have about like 6, 7 people. Why do people employ staff? One is that people employ staff because of competition. When you see what the competition is doing, if the competition has more marketing people who are approaching a lot of people and taking your businesses and eating into your market share, you then want to understand how. Then you find out that they have more staff that are going out and marketing them. You then probably want to match that. The other thing is functionality. If there are several functions that you need people to fill out, for instance, if you set up a radio station or a television station, the very key people that you need are for television stations, for instance, you need your cameramen, you need your directors, you need your audio staff, you need your engineering people, you need your lighting guys. Your engineering people might be different from your lighting guys. You also do need a bit of set designers or graphic designers these days, when you have your chroma key, your set designers and graphic designers, so that then you need people who are editors. Those are the key people that you need. And because you're setting up a television station, then doesn't mean that you should have 5 editors, 12 cameramen. If you have, except you want to spread out the work time, so everybody is on a schedule, you probably then have 3, 4, 5 cameramen, so they work on shifts. That is when it is only important. But if you have 10 cameramen and what you need to do doesn't require more than 4 or 5 cameramen, then you are overstaffing. Overstaffing is one major problem, because some people employ more people just to please the people that are their godfathers. And this is one reason that civil service is sometimes overbloated. Downsizing, for instance, is the only way that you can then balance it out. You let some go, you keep the good ones. But staffing an organization is very key. Again, another reason people employ employ some staff is for regulatory reasons. Sometimes you have about like 4 or 5 people working in an organization and they don't have the leadership that is necessary. Then you decide, let me employ somebody who either regulates them or oversees what they do. Most times, it's best to get someone, if you're still not financially buoyant, if the financial balance of your company is not very good, you can get somebody who does 2 jobs. He supervises the other people and also works with them. So you can have somebody who is the head of the cameraman, but also handles the camera every now and then. Then sales and marketing. It's important for every organization to have a sales and marketing department, but you can have one person who runs both, who runs the department and then works as your marketing person, or works as a salesperson and a marketing person. Sometimes you can even have somebody who does that and the person is also into PR. There's no need to have more than what is necessary in an organization. You can join us on the show with our phone number, which is always scrolled on the screen. It's 070-507-92427. I'll repeat it again. It's 070-507-92427. And that's our number. You can join us and participate. What we're talking about today is staffing in an organization. Most times, staffing in an organization can be dicey, especially when somebody who comes in begins to fire all the people that have been employed before. Some people believe that loyalty from staff is important, and so when they come and they find that they don't have 12, they have 12 staff and 3 of them are Yoruba, and the person is Yoruba, he now wants to create an advantage, and so he either gets 5 of the other people transferred so that he can bring in more people who are Yoruba. That way he can relate with them and feels that he's bought loyalty. But when doing that, the repercussion could be that you probably will just transfer the best hands, and the people that you are bringing in will just be parapo people who will not deliver on the stuff that you want them to do. That said, in the Nigeria of today, we have found that so many people, employ. All right. Okay. All right. Hello. We have Omar from Maduguri. Hello. All right. We can't hear Omar. Maybe when the call comes again, we'll pass it on. So we're trying to say that it's important for you to know that loyalty is different from productivity. Loyalty is different from productivity. You can employ 12 Hausa people because of tribalism, but if those people are not productive, the company will go down. It is not about the tribe of the people, It is not about the ethnicity of the people. It's about productivity. Organizations run on productivity, not parapor, which is one of the bane of our country now. You get somebody who is Isha, he comes in, and every other, in fact, when you walk into the ministry or walk into the, you find out that, yes, power has changed hands, because everybody that works in the place now begins to speak only one language. Just as we found out during the past regime, and Aso Rock had everybody that was speaking Ijo. Anyway, that's even now there's so many Hausa people in Aso Rock, so just and then some parts have Yoruba because of the vice president. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that your loyalty should not be the reason for you to be employed in an organization that wants productivity and wants to succeed. One other thing that needs to be mentioned is market share. Getting your market share requires working with certain staff. To succeed in getting those market share, consistently maintaining it and growing it, requires proper staffing. You find sometimes that even in hospitals, there's only one doctor that can treat a particular case or do surgery. And the nurses would have to wait for that doctor to come from wherever. Maybe the doctor even has a private practice, and he will, until he comes, before something can be done. And when that happens, you begin to have cases of lost patients, of patients who died. Staffing is important. You can't have too many nurses in a hospital, but it must be because of functionality. There's no need to have 6 nurses in a hospital that do not provide any value or do not give any value to the organization. The other one is to please certain people. You set up a company, and because your auntie says that her daughter has graduated and doesn't have a job, you give the daughter a job. And then your wife's uncle calls and says, oh, Kemi just graduated and she doesn't have a job. You say, okay, let her come. Then Amechi calls and says he's graduated now, or he's looking for a job as a driver. You don't have a vehicle for him to drive, but you employ him as a driver all the same, because you want to satisfy the family. Then this is important. You know that you don't need a second secretary. You already have a secretary. Then somebody comes and says, oh, this my girl was working in so and so place and has been fired and has 2 children. She can't take care of it because the husband is not even taking care of her, so I need you to just give her a job. And then you give her the job without a portfolio, so she resumes in the place, which is a problem that we've mentioned before on this show. A lot of people get employed, get letters of appointment, but do not even get posted. So they get the letter of appointment, continue to receive salaries, and are waiting for. That is nearly like a ghost worker. All right? So we need to begin to look at staffing in organizations. One big problem in government is having special advisors. Special advisors, domestic affairs, special advisor newspapers, special advisor transport, special advisor special duties, assistant special advisor, special duties, and all of this. And so you just bloat the overhead, and what you actually need these people for can be done by, maybe what you need all these 4 or 5 people can be done by one person. All right? You have special assistant media, senior special assistant media, and then assistant media, then media officer 1, media officer 2, media. What are you mediaing? So please, it's important that these issues should be looked at properly. When I come back, I'll take the last reasons that people staff organizations and how to handle downsizing. I'll be right back. All right. We're still on Vacancy with Ali Baba. I've been talking about staffing in an organization. Downsizing is important because most times when you you set up an organization, business might be very good. And sometime back in 2008, when the financial crisis hit Nigeria, some banks offered to downsize, and they told some people, would you take half salaries and till things look good, or would you like us to just pay you off? Many staff of many banks agreed to be paid off. They felt, okay, my salary is 1.5, and you say you want to downsize and you want to now start paying me 1 million because of the downturn. Some of them left. No, they would rather leave the bank than take 1 million naira as salaries. And most of those people who left, some of them still don't have jobs till now. And then the organization then offered the others who wanted to stay the lower salaries and promised them that when things happen and when things begin to be better, they would give them their full salary and probably move them up. And so this bank did that to downsize and let some go. And so sometimes HR and personnel management department, and the legal are the people who are core in making sure that who should be let go is decided on. For instance, if HR says we can't let that person go because of the value the person is bringing to, this organization, then they decide not to let that go. But if you have not been pulling your weight in an organization during downsizing, you're one of the first people to go. Hello, we have Bello from Maiduguri. Hello. All right. We don't have. I don't think Bello is coming through. All right. So I was still talking about. The financial standing and employment of people. Like the downturn of 2008 was the reason that a lot of people were fired from certain organizations. Sometimes when these people are let go, when things begin to look up, they are the first people to be called and reinstated. In other climes, some people would take half salaries just because they believe in the organization and they understand the fact that the organization is going through a very tough time. Emerging market is another reason for staffing or downsizing. You get organizations where you probably find an organization where the sector, maybe like Agric. A lot of you remember some time back when Jonathan promised that he was going to inject nearly 20 billion or about 2 or 20 billion into the entertainment sector. Nearly every bank started recruiting people who were very conversant with the entertainment industry. As consultants, as permanent staff, they opened entertainment desks. And the entertainment desk office was so that they would be ready when that fund gets released. It's important to know that preparing for emerging markets is another reason that make people employ staff. Before now, not many people believed that the online banking was a very core part of banking. But these days, the crowd that used to pull into, that used to be drawn into banking halls have reduced because of ATMs, because of online banking, and a cashless society that we're trying to become. And so what does that mean? It means that a lot of the people who hitherto would not have been employed will need to now get jobs. People who work online, graphic designers, IT consultants, people who are IT experts, they now become very important in the new banking sector. The same thing. Now you can then employ somebody again to handle the online affairs for an organization. And that staffing is important. Somebody who is your PR manager that does not have online experience would not be necessary. it's important for you to employ somebody who has either worked in social media space and can manage your social media sector properly. Emerging markets are important because failure to employ someone or employ a staff that understands that emerging market will leave you in the doldrums or leave you in the starting point when all other competition or companies are going across. All right. The last point on staffing in the workspace in Nigeria is that customer relations is key. Sometimes the first person that makes people know about in fact, that relates with people in your organization is your secretary or the receptionist or your customer relations person. Most of these people will find out about your organization by just a phone call. Sometimes you make a call and the person that answers the call needs to be fired. Sometimes you call an organization and you ask to speak with somebody and they go, there's nobody like that here. And then you later find out that there's somebody like that in the place. And when you call back, you say, oh, I didn't know that was the person that you were talking to. So if you're staffing somebody in a particular position, especially as a receptionist, it must be somebody who is cool, calm, and does not let issues that affect their relationship with customers outside the organization. Staffing also needs to bear in mind that customer relation is key in dealing with customers who you cannot. If you notice, there are certain people who will not be employed in a telecoms company because when you call, they expect you to be able to handle the customer well. Like you all remember the case of Uche, face your walk. Oh, it became very popular. The story became very, in fact, it trended. It went viral because the way the lady handled it was proper. You need to have people who can handle customers very well, and staffing is very important. The final thing I'll say about staffing before we round up this segment is recruitment. Recruitment of staff should not be on emotional grounds. It should be under functionality and all the other reasons that I've mentioned. We want to thank you so much for joining us. But before I go, I want to say that we lost a big gem in the entertainment industry, a man who was a pathfinder for comedians, in the person of Baba Salah, who passed on yesterday. We also believe that it's important to also mention another person, John Ode. John Ode was a former minister and former publicity secretary for PDP. He was a PDP stalwart, but he was in charge of the Ministry of Environment for a while in this country. And because he played in that role and was involved in recruiting people, we want to say we miss him and he should rest in peace. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And next week, we'll bring you another fresh edition of Vacancy. Thank you. Bye. My name is Ali Baba. Have a wonderful week.